Hey everybody, my name's Jason. Thanks for watching my channel, checking it out. I got this C3 Yamaha. It's a 2007 Yamaha C3, and I did some modifications to it, and I wanted to go through them. This is part 3, so if you've watched my other videos, you'll kind of understand what I'm doing here. I'm actually turbocharging this. So I removed the air filter box over here. I had it all apart. There is a hose in here that needs to be hooked up eventually. I'm going to make a oil catch can right here because this is blowing crankcase, oil residue. It's getting in, dripping on the ground. And where it kind of naturally wants to lay is near the tire, so I don't want oil getting on my tire when I'm driving down the road. Anyway, you see these wires here. That's my tuner, my rolling wrench, beast mode tuner, E85 tuner. I have the factory fuel injector in this now because the 140cc injector that I put in here was way too big, so I could not get it to idle. I could get it to rev, but I could not get it to idle. Even if I turned it, there's like a fine spot where if you turn that thing down, it must shut. That injector must not have enough voltage pressure or voltage to come off the seat of the injector to spray fuel, so it will either run or not run, or run fat. So the injector was just too big. So anyway, I upgraded. I got this. This is just a Harbor Freight Tools boost gauge. Believe it or not, they sell one gauge, to my knowledge, and it's a boost gauge. Now it says nitrous on it. That's supposedly the brand name, but it's a boost gauge. It registers vacuum, and I have only I've only gotten a pound of boost out of this thing so far. Maybe close to 1.5, something like that. It was kind of in between 1 and 2. Anyway, this wideband sensor, I have it all wired in. I have it on lambda because it's easier to run with E85, which I'm running still. And believe it or not, that factory injector has enough volume. It has a high enough ceiling to run ethanol. So if anybody's interested, you could get this tuner and run ethanol in your scooter. So that's what all them wires are for. I'm just got them out right now to help tune it. And let me show you the main article. Now I took the air filter off because I want to see how that turbo's spooling. I had it on there and never had it off when I was running it, so I live on a gravel road, so I didn't want to take any chance of dust or gravel getting in that thing. So anyway, you got blow off valve. I've checked that. I've tightened that up. That has pretty much that pretty much ain't functional right now, because I was getting such little boost or no boost for such a long time trying to figure out what is leaking or where it's leaking or whatever. And I've come to the knowledge that this turbo was used, and I have a feeling that they had messed with the wastegate rod, so I had screwed it in, or it's just meant to be on a bigger engine that would easily make this thing spool. This engine is a 50cc or 49cc, and it's got a pretty good size, tube. That's I think that's 1.5 inch tubing pretty much the entire way. So that's way bigger than what a 50cc scooter usually has. I mean, a scooter usually has like I'd say a half inch ID muffler, or going tube, and then it starts to grow as the catalytic converter hits the muffler, and then, on this factory one anyway, it had a catalytic converter originally. But anyway, so this is my muffler now. I put the wideband in there, ran all my wiring underneath the plastic and stuff. Sorry about my hand there. I don't run an intercooler on this. It's not enough boost to worry about. So there's my intake tube. Obviously blow off valve, so it's not, having to turn a sharp corner. The air kind of hits it a little easier. I've been through a lot of this, but I just wanted to kind of verify if anybody hasn't any questions or whatever of how I did it. I am having a little issue about how I ran my drain back tube from the turbo. It's really not ideal. This is gonna possibly be a setback for me. I gotta either put a 45-degree angle. I took a generic oil plug that I got on eBay, and I cut the end off on the inside. The dipstick basically is cut off, and I drilled a hole through the center and put a straight fitting in there, a straight barbed fitting. That is not ideal. I really need it to be like a 45 or something in between a 45 and a straight. Then I could probably potentially get this thing to run somewhat level. So at least the oil's not going up a hill. That is not good right there. So just so you understand, I didn't think that through real well. I had it routed differently. I just changed this, and it's better than what it was, but not by much. I may tie that down a little tighter and really try to pull that down. I just don't want it to go up a big old steep hill, you know. Anyway, so this thing has a dead battery in it, so the wideband doesn't want to operate on low voltage, so it keeps saying BATT on it, and it doesn't read. So I really don't want to drive it too much because I don't know what the air fuel is, especially if this thing starts producing boost. I don't want it to go lean and blow the motor. So far, I have beat on this with this on here, but my battery was in better shape for some reason. It just took a dump like immediately. I charged it just to kind of give it a little more start out, because I don't know if these things just have real weak voltage regulators on them or what, or the stator's real low powered, but they seem to, mine's always seemed like it has an issue. I wonder if it's starting to go out. Anyway, sorry about my voice. I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat, man. This thing was terribly loud when I first got it running, so I put that washer. That washer is literally pressed in there. It's not even, I just tapped it in there with a hammer. It fits so tight that it stayed in there. So it's got a baffle in there. I may cut a hole in that, like right here, and I'm sorry, right there, and put a barb or some kind of tube in there and weld it in, because I think I want to try to hook up that emission stuff to it to see if I can get that yellow light on my dash to go out. I believe that thing has been on. It's been on for a long time. It's blinking at me with the check engine light. It's not the temperature, it's the check engine, and it just keeps doing it. It just don't stop. So I put brand new plug in it, and nothing I could do before I even mess with this turbo stuff. Nothing I could do to get that to go off. If anyone has any suggestions, I've tried the book. I've tried the, turning the key 3 times and, whatever. I've tried all that stuff, and I don't know if I'm not doing it right or what, but I cannot get that code to go out. So I believe it's just reoccurring because there's a problem. It's sensing a problem because that hose is basically just laying in there breathing open air. So it's weird though, because it wasn't on for years of driving it without it being hooked up, and then all of a sudden it came on, and I just can't get the thing to shut off. And I don't like having it on. It bothers me because if there's another issue, I won't know there's a problem, Anyway, so that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to try to start it. I have had this thing on the charger for like a day, just on a slow charger, but it says it's fully charged even though it's not. So I'm just going to try it and see if it will even crank over. Oh, sorry, I got my finger in the way. I'm sorry about that. All right, so I'm no professional person to film, so I'm going to put the phone down for just or actually I'm just going to pause it. So yeah, it's stone dead. So I got a battery on the way anyways, but I just wanted to try, maybe I can hand crank it. There we go. There you go. It's not terrible. This is run on E85. Just keep that in mind. For how, for having to richen it up and all that stuff to get it to run. It didn't have to richen up that much. And I actually like the smell of the E85. I don't know, to me it smells like a drag car. So anyway, so yeah, I just recognize the smell from working on my Mustang and stuff, and it smells good to me. But if it's rich, you'll get a headache and it'll burn your eyes. In my opinion, that's what it does to me. So you see this BATT on this. Look at that thing. It's even blinking. Oh, it doesn't actually blink like that in real life, by the way. Right now it's kind of flickering, but it ain't flickering like it is on this video. That looks like it's like pulsing. But anyway, you see my vacuum. I barely have any vacuum right now. It's like almost at 0. So I don't know what's going on there. It's almost like that turbo. I tightened it up so much. Maybe I over tightened it. Maybe it ain't even. Maybe it's like not, the wastegate ain't gonna open enough to even. Whoa! She wants to go. I just saw some boost there, just on that little bit. I barely touched it. I'm gonna. I want to watch the turbo. Is the turbo spinning? Yeah, it's spinning. Nothing spectacular. I really need to get this on a different spot because my tire's touching the ground, even though it's on the kickstand. But you see it spinning in the video. It looks like it's barely spinning, but it's actually spinning much faster than that. I think that thing will spool up pretty good. Might actually build boost. Anyway, I know a guy named Steve I've been talking to and communicating with on some of the issues I'm having, and I appreciate you, Steve, your questions and stuff. Appreciate your interest. I know it's kind of an odd thing to do, and the money maybe that I've put into this ain't worth necessarily what I did. It's just something that I wanted to do. I've wanted to do it since I've gotten into turbocharging and welding and all that. So I had this scooter back in those days when I got, like in 07, I got this thing like when it was the first year these came out, and got it in springtime, or maybe like a little late spring. But I was just doing it to save money on gas because I was driving a very short distance, and I thought it was kind of a waste to, put a tank of gas in, or a half tank of gas in a week when I could drive on a gallon of gas, So that was my original thought process to buy this. Gas was at that time pretty high, but nothing like it is with Biden in office. But anyway, so the scooter is. Let me go through the tuning. Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained right now. I'm trying to think of things that I haven't covered yet. So right now she's running at 2100. It's bouncing between 21 and 2000 RPM, so it's back and forth a little bit. So that tuner will tell you what RPM you're at currently. So it's kind of like a tachometer almost, but not accurate. It only goes in between 500 increments. So like right now, if I had a running problem, I would either bump my numbers up. I would hit this button in the middle, right here, right? So there it is. There's 500 RPM. I have it at 4, so positive 4. Here's 10. That's 1,000 RPMs. I have it at 4 again because it really don't need much in those lower RPMs. It's not much of a difference. It's just idling. It ran really almost perfect idle. I had a perfect air fuel mixture almost. It would bounce a little bit above, lean, and then rich, and then lean, and then rich, and it was staying right in that ballpark, like high rich, or high, like almost 1, okay, on Lambda. So here's 1500, I got it at 6. 2000, I got it at 6. 2500, I have it at 7, and I'm just kind of slowly going up on my numbers. 3000, I have it at 8. 35, I have it at 9. 4000, I have it at 11. 4500, I have it at 12, and this goes all the way up to 13.5. I've actually wound this thing out to like over 12, like into the 13s. And let me tell you, this thing pulled like crazy from like 9 to 13. I mean, it pulled like way more than normal, but I wasn't registering. I was only registering like a pound of boost. Okay, so this is 5,000 RPMs. I'm at 13, and I'm just progressively going up a little bit. 55, I'm at 14. 6,000, I'm at 15. 65, actually that's 14. That's weird. I don't know why I did that. Okay, so I want to adjust that up, and then I hit this, and that programs it. See how it almost stumbles? It stumbles like that when you hit the program. It has to like remap it. So now when you start over, you got to start back over at 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 25, and so on. 3,000 I was at, I think. 14. Here, I was at 6,000 when I adjusted it. So that's 15. I'm going to go up 1. 16. At 7,500, I think you start to get into the boost. So that's why I went up a couple instead, and then ramped it up just maybe a little bit. Yeah, see, I'm going in a little bit bigger numbers. See, 9,000, I got it at 2,300. Now I'm revving this past what the factory obviously would want you to. It had a governor at, I don't know, I think it was like, it might have been like 8750 or something like that. I don't know if anybody knows the exact governor when this was, when they start regulating. If anybody knows that, please tell me. There's 10,000. Sorry, wife just showed up, talking to me, wanted to get food. Anyway, so there's 10,000. I got it at 27. There's 10,500. I got 28. 11,000 RPM. I got it at 29. 11,500. I got it at 31. 12,000. I got 34. I don't know why that's less than. Should be at least more, I would think. I'm gonna bump these up a little bit because oh, see, she stalled. That does happen. I had it stall on me a couple times when I was tuning, when I'd hit that program. So anyway, but you get the idea. That's how that tuner works. Don't use my increments unless you're turbocharging your scooter and running on E85, and you have similar setup up to me. You might be able to use it as a base to get you going. But please don't take these numbers as like it's the perfect tune, because I have not got this figured completely out. I keep going up and down the road, annoying my neighbors, trying to, stop and go, trying to figure out if I can smooth this thing out. And I have got it close, but it's definitely not perfect. And I wasn't building boost, so when I put boost pressure, actual positive boost numbers to that, that's going to change a lot. I might have to fatten that up dramatically, especially on the top end, to get it to run, stoich or whatever at that RPM. This gauge has, red lines that come up. There's a green one like right about here at 7 or something like that. And those are lines where it's like stoich, and it's, it's a perfect burn. So, it kind of gives you some basic tuning points on it built in. I mean, relatively, every engine's a little different, I'm sure. But anyway, so this thing will, fire up, and it will run, it will drive. I can take it down the road. I'm just not ready to drive it to work or anything right now, because I want to make sure it's right and I don't blow it. I don't want to run it with that blow-off valve completely closed like that. I want to make sure. I want to get the turbo adjusted properly on the wastegate to build boost. Now, if it comes down to it, this engine may not be enough to spool that turbo properly. out the air fuel on the, I might need to drop that down to 5. I think I will. Because it's starting to load up. I'm going to go onto here, and I'm going to put that at, I'm going to put that at 5. Oh, she stalled. Now this thing, like I said, this ECM doesn't, I don't think this ECM likes to run on low voltage. It will, but as long as you're, you know, staying on, when you got more lights and more electronics and stuff than factory, plus, let me see something here. I'm gonna go up. My dog is barking at me. Sorry, guys. He doesn't, there we go. All right, so, anyway, sorry about that. My finger on the, I'm gonna try to set the phone down right. Sorry about that. Sorry about the finger in the middle of the, oh, you gotta be kidding me. Hang on a minute. Pausing it again. Oh. Yeah, anyway, this thing's got a dead battery. I'm just not even gonna drive it. I'll wait till I get a new fresh battery in this thing and it works like a dream. That way my wideband will work and I'll know where I'm at air fuel wise. I don't leave this thing outside. Obviously, I put this under the seat when I'm not using it. I don't get that thing wet. Just changed the oil, by the way. Put 2050 Kawasaki oil in it because that's what I had. I've run 2050 in it most of its life. I tried synthetics and stuff like that, and they're fine. You know, they work and whatnot, but I just found that I changed the oil enough to run regular. I do have a seal leak on the main crank behind the variator. So there's a possibility I'm getting oil on my belt, making my belt slip. It's draining down and then dripping out the back of the cover. I don't know, maybe having a breather will help it. I don't know. It's probably not going to. It probably needs to be replaced. So maybe over the winter time I'll put a new seal in it. I do feel like the belt system's not quite functioning right. I have 6 gram Dr. Pulley sliders in the clutch. I do have some, I have an aftermarket clutch, and that it's not like a high-end one necessarily, but it is a better one than the factory. And then I have different springs on it. I'm wondering if those springs are like holding it from engaging, because it feels like the rear clutch is not engaging quick enough. So I don't know. I'm going to take the cover off of it and take a look at it. But I just cleaned everything on the variator. I did everything that that you do when you change, sliders or rollers or whatever you use. Anyway, this thing does not get up to a high speed yet, and I have a feeling something in the clutch system is not working like it should. So I'm not seeing like 40 mile an hour or whatever. So just want you to know that's kind of where I'm at. I gotta do some digging and figure out why my belt system is not working right. I don't know if I need to change something in the clutch or change out those springs and put the factory springs in to kind of get back to the base speed. I do have 1,000 RPM higher spring that I could put in it if that would help it. But to me, that it seemed like that was more for higher RPM. When I say higher RPM, I mean, to where you want your setup to get up hills better. To get up the hills, and which, don't get me wrong, I like that, but I want the top end speed out of it because I want to be able to drive it on a road that's 55 and, keep up with traffic, so I'm not, being a nuisance to people. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video. I'm sorry it was so long. I'm going to stop it here at 27 minutes. Sorry about all of the, fingers in the way of the screen and the dog ear, getting in the way and whatnot. He's a good dog. He likes to bite my tire when I go to pull out. He tries to bite the front tire. I don't know what his problem is. He's weird about that, but my wife interrupted the filming too, so excuse me for that. Anyway, this is part 3, I believe. I will let you know when I really work things out and figure out what was going on with the boost pressure and why it's not running right, or why it's not building boost. I will figure it out and I will let you know, so you know what you have to do if you plan on using this turbo. Thank you for watching, man. Appreciate your questions, and keep them coming. Even your comments, even if it's negative, man, I can take it. Just be nice, You don't have to, I don't know if anyone's going to be a jerk about it, about my setup, but I've had that before with things. Anyway, just, yeah, any comments, negative or positive, just let me know what you think. All right. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Talk to you later.